Okay, here let's see the Access 2013 Skills Approach, Chapter 2 Skill Review 2.1. Like always, you have to download the instructions. I already have the instructions. The start file. And here in this one, you need the resources. So let me click here, All Office Versions. This is a zip file, so you will have to unzip it or extract it. This is what you're going to see. Select, say extract all files. And this is what you're going to have, this folder, and basically it's a JPEG file that you will need this later. Okay, so I will save this and use it later when it comes on. Also, the start file, like always, you have to enable the content. Okay, and now I am going to bring the instructions so you can see what we have to do. So in this we are going to work basically with tables, designing tables and doing primary keys, setting primary keys, adding fields in data view, modifying field properties and creating relationships. So that's our first work with Access. That's what we're going to do. So let's see, we make it a little bit bigger. We already did this. We open the start file and enable the content, and there is no change of the name. So the first thing that we're going to do is to create a table in data view to view the store vendor company data. So let's see how we do that. We are going to go to create the table in data view, and we're going to add some fields. So let's go back to Access. So we're going to create tab. Anytime that you're going to create a table, a query, a form, or a report, this is where you go. So we're going to do tables, click here, and see that immediately we are basically working what is known as the data view. If you want to go to the design view, you can right click and do the save as, but I don't want to do that now. So, or you can click here and say design view, but right now we are in the data view. So let's see what they want. Okay, so first thing that we have to do is that we are going to create next field basically by typing data, and what they want is to type the following: Greg's College Supplies, and also press tab and then gregscollegesupplies.com. So let's go. Greg's Supplies, press tab, and now we are www.gregscollegesupplies.com. Tab. So now let me double click here like we did in Excel, and double click here to expand the view. Okay, so now we have that we have to put Cindy's Business Supplies at cindysbusinesssupplies.com. Okay, so Cindy's Okay, so we are done with that. Then we are going to rename the fields as vendor ID, company name, and website. When you want to rename a field, see, in this case, all we have to do is come here, right click, go to rename, vendor ID. This one is company name. And this one, website. Okay, so now we're going to change the data type of the website. Now, this is actually easier to do if you are in the design view, but they want to show you, how can you change it here in data view. So when you select website, notice that table tools tab comes on. We have table, subtab, and fields. Now in fields, we have data type, right now it's short text, hyperlink. Okay, so that was this step number 6, short text, and we change it to hyperlink. Now add a new field to the table to store phone numbers. So now we click add, short text, and then type phone. Okay, very easy. Then in this case we want to add a group of related fields using quick start. So here we are going to use the table tools fields also, and the add and delete group. So while you are here, be sure that you are here table tools fields, and then we are in the add and delete group, more fields, go down where it says quick start, others, and that automatically includes address, city, state and province, zip, postal, country and region. So this is what we need to enter in the category. So we need address, 370 Pine Street, everything is Phoenix, Arizona. Okay, Phoenix, Arizona, and the zip code is 85018. United States. Okay, the next is going to be 900 Finch Way. Okay, so that basically that part. So you see that now we are going to resize all the columns. So see, okay, so that's the best view until now. Now we're going to work with the phone field, and to do that we are going to first switch to the design view. Okay, so and then first we're going to save this as vendors. Notice now that in the design view we have more control of the fields and the properties. So right now what we're going to work is with the phone number, and they want us to put the input mask, and we're going to use the phone number input mask. Basically will work like this. So you can put your phone number, so it's fine. This is going to be the placeholder character for the entry. So let's go next. No symbols, that's what they want. Finish. So once you do that input mask and click finish, let's switch back to data view. And we have to save that table. So when we go here and enter a phone number, see now they want to enter 623-555-6810. And the next will be 623-555-8200. And we're done. Okay, so now let's close this table, the vendors table. Right click, close. So now we have, beside the table that we have from the beginning, we have a new table called vendors. So now the next thing that we're going to do is to create a company lookup field. Okay, now let's continue this. So now we have to create a company name lookup field, okay, in the items tables. So that way we are kind of going to basically establish a relationship between some items here. So let's first open the items table in the data view. Just double click here on items. okay? And see, now we are going to click next to the click to add heading in the last available field. What we're going to do is a lookup and relationship, okay? So we are going to do a lookup and relationship. So this is the thing that we have to do here. First, we have to be sure that we want the lookup field to get the values from another table or query. So we're basically going to establish a relationship between these two tables. So we're going to get information from the table that we just created, vendors, and we are going to, in the available field list, we are going to select the company name, and that's it. So let's say next. We're going to select vendors, company name. Okay, let's see if they want some type of sorting. So let's go back here. Company name. Now we have to verify the hide key column recommended. So let's be sure that we are doing everything here. So we chose company name at the sort field. Observe that although we have the company name, access will include a vendor ID automatically. That's actually necessary to establish the relationship. Now verify that the hide key column recommended is checked. So in the last screen, type company name. So let's see. Next, we are going to enable data integrity. Going to put company name, finish. Okay. Now this enable data integrity, remember, it will avoid to enter any values in terms of the primary keys that don't exist into this table. Okay, so now we're going to use this new lookup field to add company name values to the first 3 records. So the first 2 are going to be Greg's, and the last one is going to be Cindy's. So basically, now it's a lookup. So basically, here it provides a list from another table that we can choose from. Okay. So we did that. The first 2 are Greg's. The third one is Cindy's. So notice that many of the columns in the table are too narrow. This is done in the same way that we actually did Excel. So here we have to resize the item name and company name columns to best fit possible by double clicking. So item name and company name, see, just double click, it expands, company name expands, the same way that we did with Excel. So now we're going to resize the description column to be exactly 45 wide. Okay, so basically we are going to click on the description column, and as you can see, we have to go to the home tab in the records group, click more, and select field width. Home tab, records, select more, and then field width, exactly what was 45, and say OK. Now we're going to modify the cost field to use the currency format. So here we have in table tools, currency format. Actually, let me undo that. For some reason I did this one. Okay. Let me be sure now. Okay. So basically in data type we apply the currency. Now this is currency field. Let me delete this field. Yes. And this one. Okay. We are going to modify the size of the item ID field. So now we're going to do that at type 4. So let me go. Let's come here. Now we have to go to the table tools fields tab and type 4 in the field size box. We couldn't do this in design. It says some data may be lost. No, not in this case because all of them are 4, so let's say yes. Okay, now we are going to add a total row to the data to display the sum of the values in the cost field. So to do that, basically you have to go to the Home tab, Records group, and click the Totals button. So Home tab, Records, and then actually let's click Totals. So now in the total row we are going to click in the cost column, expand the list, and select sum. Notice that you can also, choose average, maximum, minimum, count how many items do you have, standard deviation, and variance. So very fast, by adding the total, we have the whole total of all the costs in this table of the items. Okay. So let's see. Now we have to add an attachment, and this attachment is actually the resource that I told you at the beginning that you had to that we were going to use later. So let me see how much is left. Okay, so we are going to add an attachment. So first we have to click the arrow next to the click to add heading in the last available field, and we're going to select this time the attachment option, and we're going to find this record, which if you just download it the same way I did, basically you should have that in the downloads folder in your computer. Once you are there, double click the paperclip icon for this record. So let's go here in the click to add last. Let me see exactly which row we are supposed to add that. See that I may find the record of LAS1, which is this one, laser pointer. So now we are going to click here, add an attachment. So in this, I'm going to double click. By double clicking, it brings the dialog box attachments, add, and choose file. Like I told you, that should be in downloads. Let me see if LAS, no, actually that's not the name. Let me see what name. Well, it's supposed to be laser pointer, so oh, okay, resources. Here it is, the laser pointer. So now, from the database, if somebody wants to see the laser pointer, they will be able to click here and look at the picture. Okay, so you have that attachment. So we're going to delete the location field. So you can just right click and say delete this field, or we can follow the instructions here, which is on the table tools field tab in the add delete group, click the delete button. It's easier to do this. So we are going to close and save. Okay, now let's go and design a table in design view. So to do that, we always go to the create tab. So now instead of using the data view, now we're going to use the design view, and let's see what fields they want. So the first one that they want is room number for the first field. Okay, let's spread tab. Let's see Okay, short text, that's fine. So now we are going to select this specific field, room number, as a primary key. So basically what you have to do is go here to the left side of the field, right click, and select that as a primary key. So the other fields that we have to do are capacity and upgrade date. Capacity is going to be a number, upgrade date, date time. So in number, and let's see what description they put, maximum number of students. This is just a comment. Then we have upgrade date, which is date time. Date and time. And this is date when the instructor's computer was last upgraded. Okay, and now we're going to save that table, and we are going to call it classrooms. Be sure not. Okay, so now we're going to modify some field properties. So in design view, we are going to select upgrade date, and we're going to the field properties pane, and the format, we are going to select medium date. So basically here, this is the field, and on format here we're going to use medium date. Okay, now we're going to do the capacity field, and click into the default value box, type 40. We use this field specifically, when a value is so common that we don't want to enter that, so we're basically saying that the default value for any classroom will be about 40. Okay, so now we are going to add a new lookup field in the classroom table to use values that the user will enter. So we are going to put field name, okay, so let's go to the field name, and it's going to be type. Here we are going to specify the type of room that we have. So we are going to use the lookup wizard, and we are going to create a list in that lookup wizard. So instead of short text, we're going to do lookup wizard, and we are going to type these values. So we are going to type this: auditorium, computer lab, lecture room. Okay. Type and limit to list, so that way nobody can enter anything else. Let's see what else we have to do. Well, click finish. Okay, wait a minute, something happened here. Let me go back here to save it. Data view. Type. Okay, yeah, everything's fine. So let me go back to design view. Okay, now we have to save and close the table. So now we are going to review the relationship that we have between the vendors table and the items table. Remember that when we did the lookup wizard from the items table to vendors, we actually did the relationship. So let's go back to the database, and the relationships are in database tools. Look the relationships group and click here to see all the relationships. Now you see that we don't see vendors, so right click and use show table, and let's click on vendors. See, now let's close this. Now we can see a relationship of vendors from one to many. So if notice that vendor ID is tied here to vendor ID and company name. So let's edit the relationship. See, vendor ID is tied to company name. So basically what this is doing is using this vendor ID information with the company name and tying that company name to the company name here in items. But there is no direct relationship in terms of a primary key and a secondary key in this table. Okay, so let's see what they want. We did that. Open the relationship windows, click the relationship button, show all tables. Now there is a relationship between vendor ID and the vendors table and the company name. So like I said, this relationship was created when you created the company name lookup field in the items table. And basically you either double click or right click to edit the relationship, and we can look into the relationship as a one to many. So we saw that the enforce referential integrity checkbox is checked, so everything is okay. So now we are going to create a new relationship between the employees table and the loans table, and what is going to tie this relationship is the employee ID, which is a primary key in the employees table, and the employee ID, which is a foreign key in the loans table. So let's go back. So you see the employee ID here, employee ID. So what we're going to do is click here, hold it, and drag it to employee ID. And that opens the dialog box that we saw previously. See employee ID, and you always try to enforce referential integrity. Now notice that these tables have already been created with data in it, so a good practice will be to actually do this design before entering data, since you are going to enforce referential integrity. So click enforce referential integrity and click create. So let's see, all we have to do is click create, but let me say something about this. We can cascade update related fields, which means any changes made here will be reflected in the related table. And if you cascade delete related records, means that any record deleted here from an employee, it will be deleted here in loans. And sometimes you don't want that. But the only thing that they wanted is to enforce referential integrity. So create. And now you see the relationship of one to many, like basically one employee could have many different loans. The same here, like a vendor, specific vendor could have many different items. So now we're going to close the relationship windows and save it. So now we just close the database and we're going to upload our file. So actually let me save it first in a place I know I'm going to find it. Access database, save as. Let me put this in documents. Save it. So now let's go to SIMnet. And this is the project. So let's upload my file and let's go to download or documents. I believe this is the one. Say yes. See if we made any mistakes. No? Okay, so and this is the presentation of chapter 2 skill review 2.1. Sorry, this presentation was long, but these are a lot of steps in Access. So I hope that this helped you to complete your project.